We're so cruel to beings who are powerless. Yeah. My name is Wayne Hsiung, but if you had told me 5 years ago we would have a piece in the Harvard Law Review on open rescue, I would have laughed. And I'm very, ambitious and a great believer in animal rights, but I just thought that's too fast. Narratively, these open rescue cases are very powerful platforms to communicate the message because they're the point at which the system is most absurd and where the need for change is most apparent, right? So it's a combination of the absurdity of the system, the dramatic consequences for an individual, potentially 16 years in prison for taking a blind, tortured beagle puppy to veterinary care. And from a moral perspective, most people see action as most urgent. So this is a place where the government is most trying to stop us, to the point that they're threatening us with very serious felony charges. And it's also the exact same place where most people want us to do what we did.
What you're doing down with this dog is an extreme stereotypic behavior.
I've been sued, prosecuted now, close to, including all my arrests, it's well over a dozen times, and it's exhausting.
And she's been denied everything her entire life. She's lived in this cage her entire life. She's lived on wire her entire life. And we're going to try and give her the life she deserves. We're going to figure out.
I have a deeply held belief in the inherent compassion of human beings. I think we are not meant to be the tormentors of other animals. We're meant to be caretakers of each other, of the other animals of this earth, and the earth itself. And eventually we'll get there. So we don't actually need to change any word on any piece of paper. What we need is to build a popular and political movement that pushes our institutions to treat animals in the way they deserve, to treat them as the living beings they are, not as some things with some ones. I went to law school not thinking I'd ever actually practice law because I was mostly interested in policy, and I went to law school as part of a joint GAD PhD program to understand how legal policy could shape the world in positive ways. And I wasn't even focused on animals at the time. I was mostly focused on global poverty. And what I found was that over time, no matter how much I tried to focus on things that other people cared about, I always came back to something I cared deeply about, which is animals. And that brings me to the animal activist side, which is that, like a lot of Americans, including probably a lot of people who watch this video, I had a dog I just loved. She was my best friend growing up. Her name was Vivian. She was someone who understood me so deeply, and I think this is a feeling that a lot of people have, that we live in a very lonely world. There's a lot of conflict, miscommunication, and a lot of times when we come home, even to our husbands and wives, our children, and our fathers and mothers, the first person who we really feel like gets us is our not even animal family member. And that was definitely true for me. I had a very hard childhood, and Vivian was the one person who really understood everything I was going through and always accepted me no matter what I was going through. And so that set me down the journey to animal rights. For years, I have tried to do the things that I think the animals need us to do and that are not being done by others, and that includes various forms of nonviolent direct action. And the most notable form of nonviolent direct action I'm associated with is something called open rescue. In open rescue, we kind of go into places where animals are being tortured or abused. We document what we're seeing, and we see somebody who needs some help, we try to give them some help. All right, let's go. Yeah, I've been thrown in jail now. It's got to be at least a dozen times, but I've only been incarcerated once. So all the other times I've been in jail, they arrest me, they charge me with something, and for years we actually won our cases over and over again. But over the last 10 years or so, government repression of animal rights activists has escalated considerably because we're very effective at exposing very powerful and large corporations in counties where these corporations have enormous influence. The motion is eliminated, the motion on whether animals are things, is going to happen on March 8th. And I'm cautiously optimistic. This is probably our best shot yet. And if we do win, every case is about the case, right? But it's about more than the case, too. This case is not just about whether this dog was deserving of protection. This is a case about a legal concept that animals are just things, are property. And, if we can break through that wall, then I think a revolution is going to be in the making. It'll be okay either way, because I've written before, there's asymmetric stakes in the sense that whether we win or lose, we still kind of win. Because if we lose, everyone's wondering why this guy is sitting in jail for taking the dogs away, right? If we win, then we go take some more dogs out. Right? So we win everyone.
Criminally charged animal rights activists are disappointed tonight. A Dane County felony case against them is thrown out by a judge.
I think that a movement is growing and more people are recognizing that our systems are not aligned with their personal values. And once people do wake up to the fact that there are big, powerful systems, not just corporations, but laws, that are treating animals as if they're mere objects and not the living, feeling beings they are, I think we'll see tremendous change. The primary thesis of the piece in the Harvard Law Review is sometimes to make law you have to break it. And by using the word break, I'm putting that in quotes. I don't actually believe I've broken the law. A lot of people have told me I've broken the law. I don't agree. And the reason is because I think the law, when it states things like we have the right to protect persons from great bodily harm, we have the right to take necessary action to save someone's life, I think, and I think most Americans agree with me, just from a common sense perspective, that when law says person or someone, that includes non-human animals. For the past 250 years, we've been on a journey and a process of self-education where we've learned that not just white landowners, but, poor white people, black people, even slaves, women, LGBTQ folks, all these individuals, no matter how different or weird or inferior they might seem to us at any particular point in time, they are all sentient beings who have rights. And I am very, very confident that eventually the world will recognize that right for animals too. I still think we should follow the social contract. I believe in democracy, I believe in our Constitution. But I also believe our Constitution has to evolve to new understandings. Just as, a few hundred years ago I wasn't considered a person. Literally Chinese people were not allowed to become citizens. We supposedly had the right to liberty and life under the US Constitution, and it just didn't apply to people of my race because people just didn't like us and they saw us as different. I wouldn't say it's even just the hope, it's the vision that I'm very confident will happen as a world where every sentient being has a right to be safe, happy, and free. And the specific strategy I believe in is constitutional change, and we just need an evolving understanding of what a person is. There is a class of beings who live in utter anguish, who are powerless in the face of their tormentors all over the world. In factory farms and slaughterhouses, even in animal shelters. Thousands upon thousands of animals killed for the crime of being unloved. And that's an atrocity. No one should die just because no one loves you, We should fix that by loving them, But they're killed just because they're considered things. So, a vision of the world where all those atrocities, all that violence and suffering is gone is just so inspiring and powerful to me. So let's take care of these guys. How do you feel about that, pal? Can we take care of you? Yeah, we're gonna go in the other room, okay? We're gonna do some more work, and then I can play with you later.